All right, take two. If you are signing up for Lane Community College, probably this applies to City College of San Francisco. This probably applies to a lot of schools. And you are finding signing up for classes is just blowing your mind how fucking like out of control, like you're like, why is this so difficult? You know, that if you were to do your taxes, if you were to do taxes online, it would be easier. Even with deductions, multiple deductions. There's tax websites that are now standard, that are easier than dealing with community college. They are supposed to, one of the most important things in our society is supposed to be education, right? Now, I really want people to be honest about this with themselves. Who supports community colleges, Democrats or Republicans? Now, so let's just go right there. Everybody knows what I'm talking about is the Democrats. The Democratic Party loves community colleges, even though it was created, if I remember correctly, by the model Ronald Reagan set up in California, because Ronald Reagan was not really quite as conservative as people want to believe. He basically saw what people wanted and compromised, because that's what Republicans and conservative politicians do. The left gets Yvette Falarca to try to burn a college down or fuck up random people in the streets with her mob of white lushes and other communist scumbags and losers and people who didn't accomplish much in life, and are probably siphoning from the gas tank of the American economy. You see, that is the Democratic Party, the fans of, the relatives of, and that's your scene. They're your scene. They're your team. That's your team. Beating up the lesbian who showed up to watch Milo Yiannopoulos. But you see, according to leftist, Democratic, Bay Area scumbag losers, somebody like her should be ready to fight back. Oh, I'm sorry. She actually was raised, the one who in particularly I'm talking about who got pepper sprayed, actually did train in MMA. She was raised in a martial arts family. But you see, communist garbage can't challenge you to a toe-to-toe fight. Commie scumbag garbage are too much of losers and cowards because they're free from honor. They're free from virtue. That's what liberty is to them. Don't tell me to speak English, even though I live in America. I'm free from having to communicate effectively with you. You have to tolerate me because I'll burn your fucking place down. That's your team on the left. That's who you are, progressives. Try to deny it, but there's not a way you could have had Bernie Sanders get the popularity he had unless this fucking team of human detritus were on the side of that stuff. They wanted free shit, and when they didn't get their free shit, they want to beat up random people in the street and blame it on them and their whiteness. And that's what this is really about. Because the left, the liberals, are not free to pursue opportunity like black people freed by Lincoln. All this, actually, slaves freed by Lincoln, because you see, Lincoln freed us all because there were white slaves too. They might not have still been in chains, but legally, slavery could have been applied to white people again, or Asians. Don't know much about Chinese history in America. Do any of you liberals? No, you don't. No, you never do. You never know the history of any ethnic minority that's balanced out. Why did the Chinese do so well? Why are they doing so well? Why did these people who came over from Canton and who were living, pretty much almost just under the era of time of the settlers in the United States. Why did these people do so well? Why did the Jews, once they got here in the 1900s, in one generation, fill politics the medical industry, the legal industry, and you almost can't read an issue of any major newspaper. You almost can't get through an op-ed without there being a Jewish journalist, even though they're only what 2 to 5% of the population. How'd they do it? See, people don't want to deal with the fact that culture is culture. Why do the Irish have so many Irish politicians? Why are there people who are identifiably, they talk about being of Irish descent in politics, pretty much up until living memory, like into living memory. The Kennedys are still a thing. Why aren't we talking about the fact that there's parts of the country where you can almost find Scots-Irish people still living in like remarkable poverty compared to, say, the city-dwelling descendants of Germans, British, or Scandinavian people? Have you ever noticed that you have never heard of like a politician, Bjorn Bjornsson, talking about how the Scandinavians da 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 da? No, never heard about that, because they just do. They don't have to talk about it. The Germans don't have to talk about us Germans, Germany, Germans, and German stuff, and German this and German that. Black people have to constantly talk about blackness because they can't do. They used to be able to just do. That's why there was all this great music from blues, jazz, and soul music, because they didn't have to talk about blackness. As soon as it got to the funk era and everybody was smoking dope, high on heroin, that what the culture was is fucking Rick James, and stuff like that. It's just some mixed guy like Prince with butt chaps on, and like I fuck you, and then I fuck her, and then I fuck all you bitches because you're all whores, and blah, 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 whores, no. That wasn't James Brown at all. James Brown had some songs with some pretty funny fucking lyrics now and then, but he wasn't talking about how, you're all hoes. No, because you see, that would not have been a very proper thing to do for a black man. Because there was proper behavior one time. I know this because there was a term called proper back in the day, and I was one of those proper. You so proper. Why you act so proper? Tee hee hee. If only I knew then what I know now, I probably would have actually gotten married to a very specific black woman in high school who really was a catch. She actually was a catch, and I didn't see it. Yeah, but that's another story for another lifetime. When I listen to these white liberals, white progressives, and white Democrats criticize Shakespeare, criticize the English language being spoken correctly, I really am. I'm just aghast. Everybody I was raised around, Filipinos, Palestinians, Cantonese, Toisanese, Koreans, all of us were held to the same high standard. We didn't all have the same outcomes, but we all had the same high standards. And that was wonderful. Why would you ever be so cruel as to hold black people to such a low standard as white people hold black people now? If it's not about, like these white liberals like Cult of Dusty and Steve Shives and these disgusting people from like the Pacifica, all these people hate Bering who are from like New Zealand and Australia, just these cuntosauruses. What? I'm sorry. It's the people of New Zealand and the Aborigines of Australia were some of the most isolated humans on the whole planet. Of course, their outcomes are different than your ancestors. Your ancestors built ships that could carry loads of humans to war in other countries. And this was before motors. What are you not getting about how different the inputs were than the outcomes? And now this is really one of these things that I'm starting to really get it. Alexander Dugin is making me understand it. He's making me understand what the Russians have figured out, and it's not changing. The Russians have figured this out, and now it's like a thing. There's really a class of Russian intellectuals that they're like, oh no, this isn't going backwards, and that's why everybody is after Russia. Russia figured it all out. Are you liberal because you are liberated from the church, the norms of your people, the religion of your ancestors, the standards that you hold most other people to? I mean, all of these, anarcho syndicalists, they get to assault people. Remember, leftists now get to beat people up. They're not held to the standard of what they don't do that thing that white people do, where they like debate. Fuck that. Fuck that. They don't have to bring any evidence. They don't have to do any math or metrics. They don't have to take criticism and then change their ideas. That is a thing that only white people did like a long time ago. And and those right wingers, those Nazis, all the Nazis, See, they don't have to be held to such a standard, because that would be work. That would actually be real work to uphold a standard. When you're into faith, you're dealing with a force that's invisible. So it only works if you're faithful. I know that doesn't make any sense if you aren't a person of faith, but that's the only way it works. You have to make a leap of faith. That's a standard. And you are confessing, like, I will uphold that standard. Only you and I know that I'm not upholding that standard. And then if you have a confessor of some sort, I don't. And actually, this is something that one of my Catholic friends is helping me with. That I need a starets, as the Russians would say, or I need a confessor, as my Catholic friend would probably put it. And I admire that. I mean, she's somebody who maintains the standard. And she is seen clearly. No. I didn't maintain this standard. I have seen others who didn't maintain this standard. I am telling you, this standard is good. That is my testimony in faith. And that's the only way it works. That's not enough. That's not enough. Even on the right wing, that's not enough. The right wing has to also find, why is one man, one woman good? If we are going to defend that, why is it good? We've done that work. That work has been done. That work has been outlined. Because one woman with a child, raising that child to adulthood, it doesn't work as well. You have worse outcomes, no matter the inputs. Almost no matter the inputs. The Black community held up a standard that was extraordinarily high at one time. I still remember being dressed down by older Black people at meetings of Black students for having hair that was some wild style of hair, some wearing a hat indoors. I still remember that when this guy just dressed all these dudes down, and they just sat there and they sucked their teeth. That's what everybody is really dealing with. So free were those young Black people. Lincoln's power freed them from even upholding the norms of their parents. They didn't have to listen to old folks. Good things come to those who wait. Fuck you. My dick. That's and people don't understand. That's what Beyonce is. Jay-Z, Kanye, all that is mud dick. Fuck you, ma dick. And people can't discuss this. The right will continue to discuss it. Russia will have no problem discussing this. And this is going to get worse, people on YouTube who are progressives and liberals. There's going to be hangouts. There's going to be hangouts. Europeans who want Europe back in the hands of Europeans are going to be hanging out with people on YouTube, and they're all going to be discussing this. And you're going to be horrified that there's people like me who we're not quite white, we're not quite something that's not white, and we know, no, you leftists would have killed my dad. You would have loved beating the crap out of my dad and watching his brains flow into the fucking sewer. I know you people. I grew up there. I know you people. You're not fooling me, and you're not fooling a whole lot of people. And that's what's really getting you. That's what's fucking, it just sticks in your craw. You have this educational system that is poorly prepared you for reality. It's obvious, being that the most incompetent people are actually signing you up for college and teaching your college classes, because you're coming out of it and you're not able to do anything that anybody's willing to pay you for, unless you went into STEM. Nobody will pay you for anything else, will they? Stop it. And unless you get to work for the company store in public school or in a university, or maybe you get like a grant to do like environmental science. You get a grant. You get, teach for life, or teach until they fucking beat you up and you finally move out of the donut hole and you move to the donut. Because, you see, the donut's sweet. The donut hole is just a big empty hole full of all kinds of kids you don't want to teach. That's what's really going on. And the progressives and liberals, you have to deal with this. Now you have to. Because I wasn't clear on exactly Alexander Dugin. I really should have read this book when I first heard of Alexander Dugin. I was afraid to order it. I was afraid to be seen reading it. Now I'm not. Now I'm no longer afraid. Now I know I'm right. I was absolutely fucking right. And this is the thing that Alexander Dugin has blown my mind away. Liberal. Are you liberal because you are free to, or are you free from? And it's the two don't work. It's one or the other. Our system, the republic, is based on you are free to. Our system mentions nothing about what you're free from. In none of our founding documents does it say you are free from a bunch of shit. It says that you are free, and then and leaves it open. Nobody can stop you from doing things. And that's that. Now the liberals have to deal with what is the long-term ramification of this, because that to and from are two different ideas. And if you don't believe me, it won't matter. Because, you see, the right understands this. The right will talk about it. And I'm going to keep bringing this up to people on the right, because now I'm starting to see it very clearly. The change is here. The revolution has come. The left has no idea in detail. They don't have a book like this. They might have rules for radicals if they're willing to acknowledge it exists and read it. They might have, was it Marcuse, cultural Marxism? They have all these people who they might be able to cite if they've read them. But our writers, our speakers who are red-pilled, who are on the right, are honing in on what exactly here are we deceiving each other about. And this is, and I think Dugin has nailed it, that the liberals have completely won. And now the goal of I am free from having to do anything anybody else likes. I could be dislikable. I could be a dislikable furry who wears diapers as an adult and craps their diapers for enjoyment. Nobody, I'm free from anyone judging me for what's obviously a fetish and a mental problem. No, you're free to do those things, but you're not free from our judgment. Because judgment is normal. That's a normal thing. That's a part of discernment. You discern something, then you make a judgment, and then you act. And you see, but you're free from language. You're free from Plato. You're free from Pythagoras. You're free from logic. You're free from Heidegger. You're free from all of them. You don't have to keep yourself in a box of even being mortal. Now, a lot of these motherfuckers believe themselves to be some other species trapped in a human body. I make jokes about being a cat in a man's suit because it's a joke. But these motherfuckers really think that this is what it means to be a liberal. A lot of you progressives, you better start thinking about this. You have friends who are like this. You have friends who are like this. Something is wrong with them. And it's because this is total savagery. This is Sodom. This is Sodom. This is Amora. This is what it really is. They're free from any rules. You can't stop them. They're Prometheus, not just unbound. They're Prometheus, and he's taken the torch, and he's like, fuck that. He throws the torch and starts burning the forests of Mount Olympus, and he just starts like, fucking turtles or something. It just does something just demented. Just starts eating all the vultures and crows that were picking at his body while he was chained to the rock, or he fucks the rock. Rechains himself to the rock because he's free from having to do any work now. It's that demented. All of our myths, all of our theology, all of our knowledge isn't. The liberals are too good for any of that business. That's what's starting to hit me. You're going to get fucked in these colleges. You're just going to get fucked. You have to divest in these people. Give your money to private schools. Take private lessons online. Find somebody who's really an expert. Try to find somebody who's an expert. I found a martial arts expert. He thought I was just going to be another body in a gi for a couple of years. And now, I'm one of his best students he ever had. And I'm terrible. I was a terrible student, but I did all the requisite research. I bought the books on acupuncture. I bought the books on Zen. I found out where these traditions come from, because I wanted to be the real deal and really know something about that subject that I loved. Well, if you love a subject, learn about it. Buy the books. Look up what the syllabus for learning about the subject would be. Look it up on YouTube. Free yourself from the mind control of all these institutions that now might as well be called conservative, even though you can't even enter them until you dye your hair and take it up the butt from a tranny. It's so just that. Yeah, that was just running through my head. What are you liberated from? Or what are you free to do?